Hi everyone, it's Pete and Grada here from the Purple House Wellness Centre at Forth.
Hope you're nice and warm like we are. We're nice and toasty.
In front of the fire this beautiful winter's night.
That's what winter is all about. Winters are not so good for heart health though, because a lot of people don't drink enough. And apparently, isn't it true that the further away you are from the sun or the equator, or what do you call it?
Equator?
Yeah. The more prone you are to suffer heart attacks. Is that true, Pete, or did I just make it up?
Probably is, because in the winter time we do find it harder to drink water because we don't feel like it. But we've experienced lots of people looking at their live blood who have all their blood sticking together, their red cells all stuck together. We go down and get them to drink a litre of water. 15 minutes later, it's nearly totally dispersed. So drinking water is a good idea to keep the blood flowing nice and smoothly.
Especially in the cold when you don't feel like it, it's still important. But I think heart attack material, because the topic this week for us is heart health. Because we had a client not so long ago who had suffered a heart attack and had bypass surgery and so on. And he was given information how to keep his body healthy, and it was conflicting with what we usually recommend clients. So we thought we would do this topic on heart health, because also heart attacks heart disease, I should say, is still one of the biggest killers in society.
It is the major killer in the Western world, heart attacks. And back in 2017, the Australian Bureau of Statistics stated that a person died of cardiovascular disease or heart disease every 28 minutes.
Okay, I thought it was every 17 minutes.
28, I think. Yeah.
Just making sure that Peter knows his stuff.
So that's a lot of people. And
is that in Australia?
That's in Australia.
Yeah.
And it can be avoided.
Every half hour, in other words, somebody dies from a heart attack.
That was in 2017. No, it's probably worse now, because the Heart Foundation still advocates people with wrong dietary advice. They still tell them to cut out fats, good fats. They put them on cholesterol-lowering drugs to lower their cholesterol. And what's happening is people are causing inflammation to happen on the inside of their arteries, particularly in the heart, with sugars, high starch carbohydrates that turn to sugars, the sugar of fruit, and the bad runny oils. The polyunsaturated seed-based oils are often causing inflammation. And along comes a nice, healthy bit of cholesterol and puts a nice smooth patch back on that piece of inflammation, so the blood can run nice, flow nice and smoothly again. It doesn't cause turbulence. Otherwise, there's a turbulent blood flow. Okay,
so I think Peter is covering a lot of information just in 1 minute. So can we just, reverse engineer what you said? So first of all, you were talking about the Heart Foundation. Okay, all right, let's not get into too much politics, but I want to, so I give in to my urge here. So if you buy products that have the Heart Foundation tick, that doesn't guarantee that they're healthy for your heart at all, okay? So always read what's on the box. And if it's like full of carbohydrates, that's what Peter is saying, put it back on the shelf, don't take it home. And the supposedly healthy fats in the supermarket, like margarine with a heart tick foundation, they are toxic. So leave them on the shelf as well.
They've most likely killed more people than all the world wars put together.
That's right. So also, if you go into your pantry, go and have a look if you've got any products there that got the tick of the Heart Foundation, and then scrutinize what the ingredients or the contents are. And if it's got any plant-based oil, and by that we mean canola oil, and what are the other oils?
Sunflower, safflower.
They're all toxic to your body.
Even grapeseed oil. Lots of people use grapeseed oil because it's got a high heat point, but it's a polyunsaturated oil that's not doing us a lot of good.
Yeah, so polyunsaturated oils are very, very bad for your health. They're like an invention in a sense.
Well, they're trans fats. As soon as they have been extracted out of the seeds, the same as fish oil is extracted out of fish by a heat process, and heat oxidises oils, so they're trans fats. And
what does it mean though? Like people don't know what trans
If you don't know what trans fats are, they have totally changed the molecular structure of what the fat should be like, and it's just doesn't do its job properly. So it's
clogs up your arteries,
causing inflammation rather than being a good fat. So if you want omega-3s, eat foods with omega-3s in. Don't have the oil,
like
please.
Eat the fish, but don't have fish oil. Don't spend money on fish oil capsules.
Eat freshly ground linseeds
rather
than the oil, because it gets to 100 degrees just by cold pressing. So it's oxidised that oil straight away, and oxidised oils cause inflammation, which is at the base of heart disease.
So, what were some more of the stats that you told me about the Eskimos?
Well, back in the 1960s, the whole world was convinced that saturated fats were bad for us, and that the polyunsaturated seed-based oils were the good ones. Even countries like India and Sri Lanka, who predominantly used coconut oil, which is the best saturated fat you can find, they also were convinced that polyunsaturated fats were the way to go. So they changed, and you can see statistics show us that at exactly the same time, that's when cancer and heart disease started to increase in those countries. Because it's the same in the Mediterranean countries, where they predominantly used olive oil, which is a good monounsaturated oil. And they've treated people with heart disease with a Mediterranean-style diet, and they've had a 70% improvement in heart disease with a Mediterranean-style diet, which includes lots and lots of olive oil.
So when we say lots and lots, we actually mean at least 3 tablespoons a day.
Well,
or more, that would be the absolute minimum.
Yeah. And the Eskimos that lived their natural life up in Alaska, they predominantly had whale blubber and fish meat. So it was fish, meat and fat, really.
Whale blubber, yeah.
And they didn't have any heart disease.
And they weren't fat either, by the way.
No heart disease whatsoever until the Americans come and introduced the Western-style diet. Then they started getting heart disease, which was sugars and high-starch carbohydrates.
And margarines.
And, the bad seed-based oils and margarine.
So seed-based oils, they're often just like a few molecules away from plastics, so to speak. So you may as well eat your Coles or Woolies plastic bags.
I grew up on a dairy farm, and my parents changed also to margarines from butter. The whole world was convinced. But they are shocking things. Now, the chap that came to us after he'd had a heart attack, we asked him what sort of diet, and he thought he was having a good diet. The doctors or the educators had told him to have 2 or 3 servings of fruit a day, use wholemeal grains, and have bread, rice and pasta, which are all carbohydrates, have lean meats and low-fat dairy foods.
And low-fat everything, like zero everything.
They did say to have plenty of water, which was a plus.
That's the only thing we agreed on, actually.
And then they said to have the polyunsaturated oils in the form of margarines, but just an added to the Heart Foundation, the president actually of the Heart Foundation died of a heart attack not so long ago. So it doesn't
terrible.
give us much confidence in the Heart Foundation.
I love the way your brain stores facts.
Well, it's surely if he had got it right, he should have been still alive.
All right, so we don't agree with all those points from the Heart Foundation, and hopefully we live long enough to, you know, that we don't get shot by the Heart Foundation, police, or whatever. So what we say, just do, if you want to look after your heart, this is what we recommend. First of all, drink your quota of water, and because that relieves pressure from the kidneys, and your kidneys support your heart. So
and the dilute blood is easier to pump around than a thick blood.
That's right. Yeah. Because actually heart disease starts with kidney disease, right?
Both the same, really. Yeah.
So your kidneys are happy when you're hydrated. So we always say drink 30, what was it?
Litre of water for every 30 kilograms of body weight.
And also put some salt in your drinking water because it makes your kidneys and heart very happy. So that's the first thing. So some people get a heart attack, borderline heart attack, or they get chest pain because they're so mineral deficient and they are lacking potassium, they're deficient in potassium. So you can get a lot of potassium from your Himalayan salt. So we recommend a teaspoon of salt, Himalayan salt per day, per person. Drink your water, then start having your good fats. So coconut oil is really one of the best all-rounders, isn't it?
Avoid any reduced low-fat foods.
Products.
Or
if it says low-fat milk, definitely.
Or light.
Or anything like that.
Totally avoid it.
And if you have it in the pantry, throw it away. Throw your margarines away.
Also, homogenised milk isn't milk anymore, and that homogenisation, you can see when that started, there was an increase in heart disease.
That's right, and homogenisation causes cancer as well. Yeah. All right, so have your good fats, and good fats are coconut oil, cold-pressed olive oil, or organic, of course. Macadamia nut oil, that's a great one, isn't it?
Butter and cream.
Butter and cream, so like have cream instead of milk.
Meat fats.
And meat fats. And even things like ghee, lard and dripping, if you're into that, that's actually healthy for your heart as well. All right, so that will fill you up. Then you don't feel hungry, so you don't crave sugar. And then we usually recommend that you minimize fruits. Pete?
Yeah, because about 6 years ago, there were a group of scientists actually found that our bodies actually turn fructose, the sugar of fruit, to the same things as those bad running oils.
Instead, that's cholesterol, eh? Fructose turns into cholesterol.
So it's causing inflammation. And I've had people come to me. One woman had a half banana on an empty stomach, and 20 minutes later, her blood sugar was 7.3, and anything above 6 is causing inflammation. It's as if when your car runs out of water, you go down to the sea and get a bucket of salt water and pour in your radiator. Now, you wouldn't do that. So we shouldn't be pouring sugars in here either, because that's rusting our insides.
And potatoes turn into sugar as well, and rice.
All high-starch carbohydrates, they turn into a lot of sugar.
All right, so avoid that, but you won't need them because you're filling up on fats, so you won't even miss it. And what else? No. Then we recommend healthy vegetables, and fermented foods are great. Yep. And then moderate exercise. If you've had a heart attack, we don't recommend that you do strenuous exercise.
Quite often there has been plaque build up in arteries when people have had heart attacks and suffer with cardiovascular disease, heart disease. So to supplement with extra enzymes is highly recommended, because
crucial, I would say.
I'd say crucial too, because there are some of the enzymes that'll get in there and go systemic, and start eating away that plaque, clean out the arteries.
They do. They scrub your arteries clean, in other words. Especially enzymes, what's that one called again? Serapeptase. Yeah, which is really awesome. And we have some really, like, probably the most extensive mixture of enzymes at the clinic, because we love our enzymes, because they changed our lives so much.
They're essential for life, and
What would be a good enzyme for people to order? Vascuzyme.
Vascuzyme.
I'll put a link in below. And then we also always recommend beet flow, because it helps your whole body. And we've seen people who needed to go on, almost on kidney dialysis, and their kidneys pretty well recovered. So when your kidneys recover, it means your heart recovers as well, okay?
And so the beet flow makes the bile runny, so the liver then is getting rid of the waste, and the kidneys don't have to, so it takes a load off the kidneys.
And then magnesium is also very much key, because like some people have massive high blood pressure, which leads to like potential heart attack material, Pete?
Yeah.
So we always say water, because dilute your blood, that drops your blood pressure. Magnesium, have as much magnesium as you can. So build up, keep taking tablets and powder till you go to the toilet and with diarrhea, and then you know your body's had enough. So we sell the Sender Cabo magnesium that doesn't contain calcium, because we don't recommend calcium, because that hardens your arteries and that leads to heart disease a lot of the time. And what else would you recommend? Enzymes, magnesium, iodine is really crucial for your heart too. Because when we become iodine deficient, that leads to all sorts of chronic issues.
And particularly the beet flow, because we've been brought up predominantly on carbohydrates, so we've
all called fatty livers,
which is turning to a lot of stored fat from the excess sugar, and it's clogged up our liver.
And anyway, if you're worried about all this fat, that it's going to make you fat, it does the opposite. Because I want to tell you, when Peter, a few years ago, probably 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Probably, Pete, what did you used to weigh? 72 kilos?
I was 72 kilograms and not realising I had excess weight on.
Anyway, and then Peter started to eat more and more butter. Like, he started to see how much butter he could eat per day. He started to eat a packet of butter a day, so virtually 6 packets of butter per week. And Peter gradually lost something like 8 kilos.
Over 6 months, I went down to 64 kilograms.
And he stayed at 64 kilos now, and he doesn't eat that much butter right now, but you definitely would still eat 3 packets of butter a week, plus
lots of cream.
Lots of cream, macadamia oil.
Coconut oil, and I pour oil all over my food, the runny oils, and Cohen, our 9-year-old grandson, he and Elijah come to us sometimes to stay, and Cohen says to me, "Hey pup, can I have a drink? Can I have some cream?" And I said, "Yeah, go for it." And he pours himself a full glass of cream and and drinks a lot, and I say, "Beauty." Because he won't be wanting anything to eat for a long time after that.
And it's cream, so like we never put sugar. In fact, we don't have sugar pretty much in the house.
Those fats keep our energy level nice and even all day long.
And so then we know Cohen is happy all day as well, which helps us if we look after.
And our brain takes 25% of our energy, so if we have a constant energy level, we'll have better brain function.
Yeah. Okay,
happier.
We're going over time, so I just want to tell you again, if you have heart issues, anyway, it's highly likely that you do, because I think 1 in 3 people, or it might be more, are at risk, okay? So
it's the biggest cause of death
so here's
worldwide.
What you do,
really.
You listen back to the listen to this Facebook post, and I'm going to put some links here as well with written information. So implement as many changes as you can. So, also quit smoking if you can, and start doing short walks. but nothing too strenuous, because your health and your fitness is more dependent on your diet than anything else. Diet is 95% responsible for your weight and the insides, rather than going to the gym or exercising, okay? So diet is absolute key. And then also book in for a session with Peter and have your body analyzed using the full biometric session, which includes 27 tests on your chemistry, as well as your blood pressures and your acidity levels or alkalinity levels.
And it's always fascinating to see your own blood swimming around on the screen.
I know, that's right. Yeah. So you get to ask Peter every question under the sun. You look at your own blood. You get the results there and then, and it usually takes 1.5 hours. And then you can also come and see me if you like. If you're brave enough, you come and see me, because I can tell from your energy field, intuitively or psychically, I know straight away if you're a walking heart attack or not. How do I know that? I don't know. I just know it. Years ago, I had a client who kept coming back to me, and she wasn't overweight, and she was just like an average person, you know, very, very active. And every time I knew she was going to have a heart attack, so I made her go to the doctor, and then the doctor said, no, you're right, because, I mean, she was a fit, middle-aged woman, and I kept saying, no, there's definitely something going on with your heart. I want you to go back to the doctor and request a heart specialist appointment. So she had a heart specialist appointment, and they did a fitness test, and she came back with flying colors. And then not long after that, she had a heart attack.
And I've also seen that in my nursing days. There was a woman, saw a cardiologist, said everything's fine, and 2 weeks later, she was in hospital following a heart attack.
Yeah, so my client did make full recovery, and she was actually happy to tell me that she'd had a heart attack. I wasn't happy for her though. So I can tell from your body, when you're in my room and we do a healing session together, if your pain or tiredness or your suspicions are true or not, or if your heart is really under stress or not, I can tell you that straight away. So many clients come to me and they're worried about their heart, and I can reassure them that the heart is, you know, going great. So that's one of my gifts, I guess you could say, isn't it, Pete?
Yep, and I can quite often reassure you when I see the blood and
doing the science.
Do all the
So if
numbers.
you're more a sciencey person, go to Pete. If you're more like whatever, like weird and wonderful stuff.
It's not weird and wonderful, it's scientific as well,
that's
really.
Right. We work together, plus I like to look at your blood tool. So I normally start with a blood analysis. I start with a blood analysis as well. So we look at your cells, we do the tangible stuff first, and then if there's anything going on in your blood, I will tell you that as well.
Because what Grada works on is the energy, and if you really think about it, we're made up of, it seems like fairly solid material. But we're made up of tissues that are made up of cells, that are made up of molecules, that are made up of atoms. And have a guess what an atom is? It is 99.999% space.
Nothingness.
So,
well, not tangible, but it's actually information. Energy is information.
It's information and energy within that space, and that's what we're made up of. So
I can tune into that information and tell you anything and everything pretty much that you want to know. If you want to know stuff, then I'm the person that you should see. Or if you want to know things about your subconscious, or if you have hidden issues in your tissues. And
at the end, this is a bit morbid, but at the end of our life, if we're cremated or burnt, so that our solid matter goes into a vapour, we end up with a little handful of ashes that is mostly minerals and trace minerals.
They make everything
and that's why we need good amounts of minerals and trace minerals as well, in the form of pure Himalayan salt. That's what we recommend. And yeah, that's what we're made up of. So Grada works on that energy side. I work more with the...
And we can swap, like Peter can work with energy.
Yeah, I do too with clients as well, and so does Sarah Ann and
Tina.
Caleb and Tina. It all involves both sides of what we are.
Yeah.
So
okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. Well, we've gone well and truly over our time, but it's an important subject. Eh?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that funny bit that you discovered about heart attack and what did you say? Not too much sex or something like that. Peter was doing lots of research.
I've forgotten now, but it's the...
Trust Peter to forget. He hasn't forgotten it all.
It's the major cause. A heart attack is the major cause of if people die having sex.
Oh, like if you have sex and you die, that means you've had a heart attack.
The major cause, most often you've had a heart attack. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be a good way to go, probably.
No, that would be a good excuse not to have sex. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's embarrassing about that. Anyway, so yeah, you better be careful then. But it's a good way to stay warm in the winter, isn't it? Or not?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Gets the blood flowing.
All right then. Hope you
Okay.
enjoyed this, and we'll have some questions for us next week, because otherwise we'll have to come up with another subject ourselves. Okay?
Okay.
Stay warm and see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.